A few months ago, I had the opportunity to travel to Peru, and of course when you're in Peru, you have to go see Machu Picchu. Now, I did vlog the day, and I will be inserting those clips throughout this video, but I also was very ill, so I didn't talk much in them, and so I kind of wanted to talk through my experience with Machu Picchu, and also the process of getting there, because I think if you're just starting to plan your trip to Machu Picchu and have no idea what to do, it can be very overwhelming. So that's what we're doing today. Roll that intro vid. So my experience in Peru actually started in Lima. That's where I flew from Mexico to get to Peru, and I spent a few days there exploring the city. I did vlog it, however, I made a rookie mistake and uploaded all that video footage onto my computer, deleted said footage, and then my computer proceeded to die and I couldn't get any of the material back, so you're just gonna have to use your imagination or go watch some better YouTubers' videos of Lima. However, at the end of my experience in Lima, I ended up getting food poisoning. I think it potentially was like a viral kind of thing, but I think it was food poisoning. All I know is I was sitting in the bar in my hostel working away on my laptop, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm about to shit everywhere. And I did. Oh my gosh, it was not pretty at all. And of course, I have this habit, I always book the cheapest hostel option, which is usually like a 10 to 12 bed mixed dorm room, but for some reason with my luck, there goes my dog, apologies, some reason with my luck, even though it's a mixed dorm room, it always ends up being me and then everybody else is a guy. There are never any women in my mixed dorm room. So in this experience, it was me and 9 other guys in Lima, Peru, and I got violently ill. We're talking TMI, vomiting, diarrheaing, crying. Also on top of that, I got my period, so I was just like, that was not ideal, but it was not cute, and I had to wake up early in the morning to catch my flight to go to Cusco. Now, if you are going to Machu Picchu, most people start in Cusco because it's the easiest base to get acclimated to the altitude change, and so I knew I needed to get there if I was going to make it to Machu Picchu, because I needed some days to acclimate to the elevation, and altitude, elevation, are those the same thing? So I willed my body to not get sick for the short flight from Lima to Cusco. I sucked it all in, and I was on a budget airline, so there were no barf bags available on the flight too, which was very risky, but I made it to Cusco, and I had some time to get used to my surroundings. Now, when I say I had some time to get used to my surroundings, I mean I could maybe walk for like 5 minutes and then I had to run in somewhere to get sick. So I didn't really see much of Cusco either. Luckily, I did have a friend that lived close by and she came and visited me, which was very nice. But on top of having my lovely period and the flu or food poisoning, I also got altitude sick, which for me, I was just very dizzy, and it was hard for me to walk long periods at a time because breathing. And then I also got a cold, so I had a stuffy nose and sore throat and a cough, and I just wasn't sleeping. So it was just all around not ideal. But I knew I had to go see Machu Picchu. I could be like bleeding out and I was gonna get to Machu Picchu, and I did. Now, to get to Machu Picchu, there are 2 typical routes that people take. Option number 1 is a 4 to 5 day trek with a tour company. Now, if this is something that you definitely want to do, make sure you research your tour groups ahead of time and book as far in advance as you can, because there are only a set limited amount of people that are allowed on the Inca Trail daily. So if you are going to do the trek, you want to make sure you're booked so that you can actually go and see it. Also, bear in mind, it is a hard trek because, one, you know, hiking, but then also with the altitude, so please make sure you are in a physical state where you're able to do the trek. There was a girl in my hostel room who came up to me the night before she had to leave at 3 in the morning for her trek, and she was like, oh, I've never hiked a day in my life and I don't like working out. I think I'll be okay. Oh, by the way, do you think there are going to be places for us to sleep on the Inca Trail? Because I don't have camping equipment. Just let that soak in for a minute. I, however, as much as I want to blame my illness for my reason of not trekking, in reality, I'm just not a trekker. I know that about myself. It's good to know these things about yourself. I am not an outdoorsy person. I don't enjoy camping. I don't enjoy getting bit by bugs. I don't enjoy hiking. I'm not in my best shape at the moment. And so I decided to do option number 2, which was the scenic train route, which is still as much as an adventure as trekking Machu Picchu. I know a lot of people have it on their bucket list to do the trek. I just wanted to see it. I didn't want to not shower for 5 days to get to see it. My dog is freaking out. Pause. What's happening, baby? What are you doing? You want to be on camera? Do you need down? Can you wait like 10 more minutes for me to finish? Now, as we get into the meat of the video, talking about how to actually get to Machu Picchu if you choose to do the scenic train ride, bear in mind, I booked a tour with the hostel I was staying at, but it is super, maybe not easy, but definitely doable for you to do this on your own. You just need to know the steps you need to take to do it. Because I was so ill, I just didn't have the capacity to plan out each stop along the way, and so I figured I'll just spend like a few extra bucks to have the company that the tour company associated with the hostel I was staying at, do it all for me and book my tickets, and all I had to do was show up along the way. So my Machu Picchu adventure started at 3 in the morning. Me and 2 other women from the hostel were going on this trip. Shout out to them if they ever for some reason find this video. I told them I would be posting it, but they were probably expecting it months ago. But they were older. I believe they said they were in their 60s, from Australia. They were fabulous. They had tried to go to Bolivia via bus and accidentally ended up in the middle of Argentina, which didn't give me a lot of faith in their directional skills, so I was in charge of holding all the tickets and knowing where we needed to be when, but they were wonderful. So I met up with them at 3 a.m. in front of our hostel, and a bus came and picked us up. Now, the first thing you're gonna have to do to get to Machu Picchu is go to a train station. Now, there are 2 train stations that you can leave from to get to the Machu Picchu town, but I can't pronounce them. So we'll put the names on the screen now, because I think the one that I left from, I pronounced it in my head as Olatambu, but I know that's not even close to what it actually is, and anybody who speaks Spanish is going to hardcore judge me. But you had to take a bus or a taxi from the city center of Cusco to these train stations, and so because I was going with my tour company, they had the bus arranged for me. I have had friends who've done it, and they took a taxi, and they said that was super easy. I think the only thing I would be worried about is coming home at the end of the day, because you usually get back to the train station late at night, and getting a taxi at that point to get into Cusco would make me a little nervous. So I liked having this option ahead of time planned out for me, but definitely something to keep in mind. You gotta go to the train station. Now, the train station that I was at also had a very nice cafe where you could get breakfast and coffee. They had public restrooms to hop on, and then you just had to be outside in time for the train to come and to get on the train. My Tinder's blowing up right now. Yeah. Unfortunately, the time that my bus was going to get me to the train station, it was the wee early hours in the morning, and then when I was coming home at the end of the day, it was pitch black out, so I didn't get to see any of the countryside, and I'm sure it was absolutely beautiful, but timing wise, it just wasn't going to work out that you could actually see what was going on around you when you were on the bus. However, I did have a beautiful scenic train ride to get to see the countryside of Peru. Hopping on the train was super easy. It waited for a few minutes for everybody to get aboard, and then I found my seats. Seats are assigned, and I got to enjoy the beautiful views of the Peruvian countryside. Is it even the countryside? Is that what you would call it? Hard to say. Hard to know. The train house also, I was like very impressed with. One, they had really nice bathrooms, they had snacks, they had drinks for people, and on the ride back, there was it on board, not like on flight entertainment, but like on train entertainment, where they had dancers and singers. There was a fashion show at one point. They gave us free snacks, all about them free snacks. So I really enjoyed this. Yeah, I'm lazy, but you know, I would take nice free snacks and a cool show on my train ride than a 5-day trek up a mountain without bathing, is what it is. as the train ride slowed down, we made a first stop for anybody who was actually doing their trek to hop off at the base of the mountain and start the incline. If you weren't doing the trek, you stayed on and went into the city center of Machu Picchu City. Now from Machu Picchu City, there are a line of buses that drive you up the mountain to the entrance of Machu Picchu itself. However, with your tickets that you have to order ahead of time, you're given a specific time that you can hop on the bus and head up to the top, because a set number of people are allowed within the actual site itself, and they have to time it with who's going up and who's coming back down. So I had about an hour and a half, I believe, to explore the city center with my two friends that I made on my tour, and we stopped and got some breakfast and some coffee and just explored the little shops. We did some bartering. I'm so bad at bartering. It's just like, I am terrible at it. I know I pay like 10 times more than I should ever need to pay for something. It's almost like one of those things where they'll like give me a set price of like what you're supposed to like barter down from, and then I give them like more money than what they told me. But I wanted to get on my backpack, I have all my patches from everywhere I've gone, so I wanted to get a patch. So we just shopped around, found the best option. Luckily the two women that I was with were a lot better at it than me, so they were able to get me a patch on the cheap, probably equivalent to about like $2 US. And then we went and got on the bus to head up the mountain. So at this point of the trip, keep in mind, I was still very ill. I was excited because I was finally doing this very cool thing that I really wanted to do, but I was so sick still. And so the last thing I really wanted to do was go up a mountain where you're literally hanging over the cliffside in these buses. Like, I'm telling you, if you are scared of heights, make sure you're sitting on the aisle seat and like close your eyes and just don't pay attention. While it was beautiful, you literally, like, the tires were like right on the edge of where the road ended, and there were no bumpers. There was no like extra space just in case you went over the lines. Like, it was just a dead drop. And it was terrifying. I also get bus sick, so I just wasn't, I wasn't my best self. But we finally got to the top of Machu Picchu and we're able to enter, which brings us to the wonderful point in the vlog. You probably haven't cared about anything up to this point. This is what you're here for. I got to go in and see this. This might be the best day of my life. Because I had booked my tour with my hostel, we were also given a private tour guide once we got into the actual archaeological site. So that was wonderful. I got to learn so much about the history, and I highly recommend you do this too. Even if you do choose to book your train, bus, ride tickets all by yourself, I highly recommend you splurge and get an actual tour guide to be with you in the actual site itself. You learn so much, and that's really, as much as I am like anti-paying for tours, they do give you so much more information and you can appreciate your experience so much more. So I definitely recommend you splurge on that. My tour guide was amazing and hilarious, and we had such a good time. And there were llamas. I feel like I just need to point out, in these upcoming video clips, I appear pretty chill. Obviously you don't see me because I was ill, so I'm just filming these llamas. But internally, like, I was losing my mind. I was so excited. Which, we have llamas here. There's like an alpaca farm down the street from me here in Pennsylvania. Like, I've seen llamas before, but just something about them being in Machu Picchu itself was so exciting. I was losing my mind. Now, once you're into Machu Picchu, you're actually given an unlimited amount of time to explore. You don't get kicked out once your time limit is up. However, you kind of eventually run out of things to do if you're just looking around the site. And so at this point, we decided to head back down the mountain, back into the city center, and get some ice cream because it was actually very hot, and then some dinner and a beer, which I participated in all of them and it made me very, very sick. But then we went back, caught the train, and headed back home, doing everything I told you how to get there in reverse to get back to Cusco City. I kind of have a prediction that for my 30s, I just turned 27, like 3-4 weeks ago. I feel like in my 30s, I'm going to become somebody who likes to hike, you know? Like, I like the outdoors in limited amounts of time, but I feel like as the rest of my 20s, as I travel and see like the cities and the countries and the beaches that I want to see, as I get through that list, there'll be more like outdoorsy things I want to do. Like, I would love to be the kind of person that goes and like hikes Mount Kilimanjaro, but I know that's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of training and a lot of pre-planning ahead, and I feel like I don't have time for that in my 20s, but come 30, I feel like that's something I might want to do. So I don't know, maybe I'll go back to Machu Picchu one day and actually do the Inca Trail and do the hike. Leave a comment down below if you are a train kind of person or a hike kind of person. I'm very curious. I mean, I'm sure everybody's gonna be like, I'm a trekker, you're just lazy. But let me know what you would do. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you want to go to Peru, double that thumbs up. It really does help my channel out. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. What are you doing? But that is all I have for today. I'll catch you next week with a very exciting video. But until then, adios, amigos.